Hey everyone, welcome to Old Iron Garage. Thank you for tuning in. So in this video we're going to pick up right where we left off, working on the Wisconsin Model AB engine. I've already got the carburetor off. That's the next thing I'm going to address is the fuel system, and I want to show you what I found. So I've got the carburetor here kind of draining. So in the first video in this series, I noted that the flange, if you look closely, if I can hold it still, it looks to have a bit of a curve. I noticed at the top of the flange, there was a gap between this flange, this gasket surface, and the engine block. And now let's take a look at the engine block. Part of the gasket is missing there. Because there was such a gap, the engine probably just ate that little chunk of gasket. No harm done, it's just gasket paper, but yeah, anyway. So yeah, in this video we are going to tackle the carburetor. Alrighty, so yeah, I've already showed you I got the carburetor off. I've got the engine pushed over as far as it can be. We're going to go ahead and disassemble this carburetor, take a look at it, and get it ready to go in the ultrasonic cleaner. So let's go ahead and get the bowl off. Now I do not currently have a carb kit for this carburetor, so I have to be very careful with like the gaskets and whatnot. This is my first time diving into a Marvel Schebler carburetor of this version of this style. Is a Marvel Schebler VH14. Ignore the zip tie on here if you can make that out. The governor seemed kind of janky, and I wanted to make sure that it didn't rev up and out of control. So I disconnected the spring and I zip tied it in the idle position. Well, inside the bowl is there's some sediment, some gray, almost sand-like looking stuff. That looks to be maybe what's left of some aluminum that's corroded and come off. The float is, well, it's a float. Let's get that out, get that off. And must be just fine. I don't see any holes. I don't hear any fluid in it. Mosquito, get out of here. Needle looks to be in good shape. See if we can get this jet out of here. Aha, yep. Came loose. It's not turning the easiest, so let's give it a little bit of penetrating oil and work that in. Now it's coming a lot easier. Oh yeah, like butter. There is some debris around there. That gray stuff down by my fingers. There's a seal here that needs to come off carefully. We'll do that off camera. I'll get the seals out of everything off camera. There's the bowl gasket. I'll get that off camera. Let's see if we can get the brass seat out. I doubt it. Nope. That is not very happy. I need a lot. Well, I do have actually a wider flathead screwdriver. It's really big though. Yeah. Well, we'll give it a go because I need one with a wider flathead, one that reaches both sides. Just barely. Let's see if this will do it. Come on. Gotta get it in just the right spot so I'm engaging both sides. Oh, yes! Got it. With a obnoxiously large screwdriver. These are a cheap screwdriver from Tractor Supply Company. They don't even have a brand on them, but they've been just great. There's been so many times where I was in a pinch and they've come in handy. I do not regret buying them. I just don't dare abuse them though, because I don't think they would hold up. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and cut this zip tie now. That worked quite well, having that zip tie there. So I want to get this idle mixture screw out, but that would be the idle mixture screw, the low speed adjustment screw. But in order to get that out, I have to take out this fuel elbow here. Which is fine, because I had intended... Oh man, I didn't even need a wrench. That was not very tight. It was... I would hardly call that snug. It was just tight enough that it wouldn't move on its own. Now we can try to get this fuel mixture screw out. It is very, very tight in there. And the flathead slot is very boogered. I'm going to try to shoot some penetrating fluid in through this hole to try to get some into the other side, the inside of the threads. I'm trying to work it back and forth, but this slot in this is so boogered. I'm probably going to get out the Dremel and cut a little bit deeper slot in it, because there's plenty of meat there on the head to go a little bit deeper with it. We're getting it, but ooh, about stabbed my hand. We are getting there with it, but it is not happy about coming out. I may have to use a little vice grip to get it out. Last thing I want to do is twist it off. I'm going to try and go back in with it, try to work that in. Alright, we're just going to go for it now. I'm going to try and get it out. Well, it's coming, but it is very stubborn. It is not coming easy. There we go. It's getting better and better. The spring around it is a little bit squashed. Somebody's grabbed that with like a pliers or something. Yeah, okay, well that's out, and the needle looks good. It just needs, I need to cut a new slot in the head. So, overall, I mean, this carburetor looks good for its age. It desperately needs that adjusted there. What I mean by adjusted is planed. Put some 80 grit sandpaper down on a perfectly flat surface like this bench here, and just go to town, sanding and sanding and sanding until you get it perfect. This carburetor took a whack at some point in time, and bent the flange, creating a gap only at the top. And I came to that conclusion because the oil bath air filter, the elbow up top here, was also like that. It was not like that. It was like that. So like this took a whack and got it on the carburetor kind of cocked, but it also bent the flange of the carburetor. So alright, well, it's as apart as I want to get it. I don't see the need to take it any further apart than that. So, other than just getting the seals out of everything, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording here. Excuse me. And next time you see this, it will probably be going into an ultrasonic cleaner. Alright everyone, as you can see, I've got the ultrasonic cleaner set up. It is a 50-50 solution of Pine Sol and water. I have it set to 60 degrees Celsius, which I think is, I think that's, what, around 140 Fahrenheit? Yeah, if you're new here, I'm in the US, so here in the US we use Fahrenheit, but this only has Celsius settings. It does not have Fahrenheit settings. So anyways, here's a carburetor. You know, it's looking pretty dirty, crusty, aged. There's some rust in there. This is steel, so I'll have to get in there with something and get the rust out. It might just end up, after I give it a cleaning in the ultrasonic cleaner, I may end up soaking this in vinegar or evapor-rust or something to dissolve that. I don't know yet. But the carburetor, you know, it just looks pretty grimy. So yeah, there's the float, the fuel elbow, and all the small parts for the carburetor that I took off. And I'm going to go ahead and get them soaking in there now, but I'm going to put the float on the carburetor to so it sinks, so it's fully submerged. This is my first time actually trying Pine Sol for carburetor cleaning. I've heard great things about it, seen a lot of videos about it online, so we're going to give it a go. Alrighty, we have reached 60 degrees Celsius. I've already had the carburetor in here soaking while it was heating up. Let's turn this on. Alright, we'll be back in about 30 minutes to see how it looks. Alrighty, let's take a look. I'm going to try to get it out with this instead. Don't tell the wife. Come on. It would help if I could actually see down in here, but it's gonna be hard to grab that basket without me burning my hands. So, alrighty. Well, still looks like a carburetor, but I don't know. It doesn't look as clean as it does. I mean, it doesn't look like fresh, cleanly cast metal like it does with some of the other cleaners I've used. I don't know. Well, let me get this thing rinsed off and we'll take a look at it. Alright, let's take a look. So, this is the carburetor after a rinse and a scrub with a little toothbrush. So actually it came out a lot better than what I thought it would at first when I first pulled it out. It's just I guess the secret to Pine Sol, cleaning with Pine Sol for carburetors, is to get all the grime off the outside first. So I wanted to leave that on because I wanted to see how it would do with that. The only thing I did was I just kind of lightly sprayed the whole thing off with carb cleaner, and that's it. I'm going to put it back in now that all the grime is off. You can see where the grime was. The areas that still are stained is where the grime was that I scrubbed off, and the areas that are clean metal is where the grime was not, where there was no grime. So yeah, I'm gonna put this back through again. The bowl really surprised me. You know, there was grime there was no grime there. The inside, I'm really shocked with the inside. The pine sol really did well. It actually did really well. So I'm gonna put this in for another 30 minutes, and we'll take a look at it then. Hey there, it is now the next evening, and after another go in the pine sol in the ultrasonic cleaner, this is how it came out. Very clean. The aluminum has a very dull gray finish. Could probably use a scrub from a small wire brush, but I mean, it's clean. It's very clean. The bowl came out surprisingly clean, but because it is steel, 24 hours later, it does have a coat of surface rust, which it did not have it after coming out of the ultrasonic cleaner and after a light scrub with a toothbrush. But that'll come off easy with some with a Scotch-Brite pad. This, I don't know how to explain this, but this is how the float came out. Charred black, and the brass also came out with like a kind of a copper look to it. Not sure how to explain that exactly. I don't know. All the brass bits came out looking like copper. But anyways, I'm sure this will clean up nicely with, well, again, the Scotch-Brite pad. Anyways, I'm going to get after it. I'm going to do some stuff off camera. If you remember from a previous video, this flange here is badly warped because I believe the carburetor and the oil bath air cleaner took a blow from above, bending both of them downward, which bent this flange. There's a large gap at the top only, top center only. So I got some work to do on that, and a little bit of cleaning by hand with some Scotch-Brite, maybe a wire brush. All of that is very boring, so I'm going to do all that off camera, and I will bring you guys back when I'm done, ready to assemble. Alright, so I cleaned all the parts by hand. You can see the brass parts look brass again, whatnot. The bowl looks a lot better than it did inside and out. And the body of the carburetor, I sanded and sanded and sanded on that flange. I just kept taking it down and taking it down. I spent quite a while on it. As you can see, the top part where it was leaking is still dull. For the most part, most of it's still dull, the top center there. And it will still leak there if I don't do something to seal that up. But I don't want to sand any further. I don't want to take any more meat off the thickness of this flange, because that'll just make it warp easier. So what I am going to do is I'm going to do something I do pretty commonly regardless, and that is put some sealer, some fuel-rated sealer on here. In a pinch, I have used Permatex RTV gasket maker, the black one. But it works, you know. It's not like there's liquid fuel coming against this very much. It's mostly fine fuel droplets. Yeah, I when I can, I prefer to use a fuel-rated sealer, which I have here, so that's what I'll be using. I guess the next thing I'm going to do is reassemble this carburetor. I did look at carb kits online, so I would have all new seals for it. But the thing is, they were like $55 plus tax and shipping. I'm not going to spend that on this because I don't know if I'll even get that out of this whole engine. The right person would pay more than that for this engine, but I mean, I don't know if that right person is here locally, and I'm not shipping this thing. It's heavy. Yeah, it's probably like 75 pounds. Another thing I'm going to need to do is, if I can remove what's left of this gasket. Come on. I'm going to need to make a new gasket because no, that did not tear off just now when I was pulling it off. The top part of that gasket is missing, and it was like that when I removed this carburetor. This, just because of the vacuum leak there, that part of the gasket wore out, broke off, got sucked in the engine, and burnt up. Yeah, so I need to make a new gasket and clean up this gasket surface. For that, I have a carbide scraper I will use. But for now, we're going to start by reassembling this carburetor. So there's a certain direction this has to go back in, because way up here, right below the threads, right above my finger, there's a tiny hole. There's a little port or a passage, and that has to line up with a drilled hole in here, which comes down through here. So I've got it marked with the Sharpie there. To make it easier to thread in, I'll put some lubricant on there. And I'm going to spray this too, so as it's going in, it just this part here goes nice and easily as well. I'm going to get a different screwdriver. I don't want to use that real big one. Make sure it's clean, so I'm not introducing any dirt inside the carburetor. And that is going about as smooth as butter. And there's something that I forgot to do. It is late. I am tired. I'll use that excuse. There is a little gasket, a real little one, that goes on there. I forgot to put that in. That is right, see if you can see it, right there. If I put the paper towel as the background, get it up close, there you go. Alrighty. We'll put a little more penetrating fluid on there. And I'm going to install it again. Alrighty. Hang on a second. Alright. Next thing I'm going to put in is the seat for the needle. That also gets a seal. I think it is this one here. There's not much to grab with the screwdriver on this, so I want it to thread in easy. So put a little lubricant on that for threading it in. If you remember from when I took it apart, I had to use a extra large screwdriver so that both ends of the screwdriver would touch this thing. It would grab on both sides of this. There's only a little bit to grab on each end, and each end is kind of far spread apart. And I don't want to ruin this thing, so I'm going to be using that screwdriver again. It has to have a very, very fat tip. So this is the only thing I got that has that fat of a tip. Alright, that is installed. Now I'm going to go ahead and install the needle, the float, and the pin that holds the float. I'm going to go ahead and thread this fuel fitting in, because now this is not the final installation for this fuel fitting, but I need to test the needle and seat. Works perfectly. I'm just going to leave that there for now. But I do need to put the bowl on. But for that, I have this seal. This is one of two seals. This thing is awful brittle. I really ought to soak this in something first to soften it up, because I see that part of it was not installed right previously, and it looks like that's where the leak was. Actually, I remember it leaking in that location, because that would be right on this side, and that's where it was leaking. It was on the fuel inlet side, the side that was facing me. So I'm going to bring you guys back in a bit. I'm going to drop this into some kerosene over here, let it soak up some kerosene, and hopefully that'll soften it up, bring it around a little bit, so I can install it correctly without snapping it, because I do not have another one of these, and I do not wish to have to try to make one out of gasket paper. That'd be pretty hard to make. So I'm going to drop this into some kerosene, and come on, get in there. I'll bring you guys back in a while. Alrighty, so off camera, while I was letting the bowl gasket soak in kerosene to try to soften it up a little bit so it has some pliability, I went ahead and I scraped the gasket surface, carburetor gasket surface on the block, and I made a new gasket. I don't have all night. I want to have this carburetor back on and have it running again tonight. And unfortunately, just it wasn't enough time to soak. I was hoping it would be. This thing is absolutely petrified. So I'm going to reassemble it with this. I'm going to flip it. And hope that I can get a little bit better seal there. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and finish assembling this carburetor. Get this bowl gasket back into its groove. All the way around. And try not to break it. Alright, it's mostly back in. I'm just going around and making sure it is fully seated. Now I'm going to set the bowl on there and see if I can get it to touch that gasket all the way around. Looks like it's just barely touching the gasket all the way around. So that should work. Hopefully I can get it to seal. If not, I got one more trick up my sleeve. But so I got a gasket here that goes on the part that threads in at the bottom of the bowl and holds the bowl on. And it has the high-speed adjustment needle going through it. But I'm going to take out this high-speed adjustment needle. You know what? I'm thinking this went... Did this on the inside or did it go... Okay, no, this seal did go on the outside of the bowl. Sometimes there's one on the inside and outside, but I don't think I've ever seen one on just the inside, and there was only one seal. So we're going to go ahead, get this threaded in. Get this all lined up the way I want it again. So the bowl is contacting the seal all the way around. And we'll make this snug. Double check, make sure it's touching the seal all the way around. It is, so you're going to, oh, it's bigger than that, okay. Well, just use the adjustable. I'm going to go ahead and tighten it down. Remember not to over tighten this, as you will strip out the threads in the bowl or in the carburetor. Feel like that is probably tight enough. Now I'm going to put that there you can see it, high-speed fuel adjustment needle in, and I'm going to thread it in all the way until it just touches, until it's just not even snug, really, just until it's touching and it comes to a stop. And that would be right there. Now we have the low speed adjustment needle. I'm going to put that in, which to put that in I have to take this fuel fitting back out, as it is in the way, and I'm going to do the same thing there. Some of these threads are a little difficult, I guess. You know, this carburetor is pretty old, so I've been putting some penetrating fluid on some of the parts as I thread them in. And I'm going to do the same thing, thread it in until it stops. I'm not going to go any tighter than that. You don't want to ruin anything. There we are. I do want to make sure that the the idle speed adjustment screw is loose. It was bent previously and I kind of straightened it, so I'm gonna, but it's hard to turn, so I'm putting some penetrating fluid on there and kind of working it into the threads. Alrighty. Okay. Time to put on the fuel elbow again. I'm going to be sealing that up with a little bit of fuel rated sealer just to ensure a leak-free seal. Before I do that, I'm going to bench set the low speed and high speed adjustment screws. I'm going to go out 1.5 turns. There's 1/2. There's 1. And then 1 and 1/2. Here we go. Okay, so I am going to spread this sealer around. Kind of work it into the threads. This is a fast setting hard sealer, and it hardens. There's a hardening and non-hardening formula for this stuff. There you can see I have it on the end that threads into the carburetor, and I'm going to go ahead and thread it in. Now this fitting needs to point, the other end of this fitting needs to point straight down. Trying to get this just right. Almost there. That should be it. There we are. I'll take off the excess sealer. And there it is. Thread it in, pointed straight down, it's sealed up. Now, the carburetor is, well, I still have to bench set the high-speed adjustment screw. Okay, so it is threaded in right now until it is stop. So that needle's fully blocking off the passage. So I'm going to go out 1/2, 1 1.5 turns. Now I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to put some of this sealer on one side of the gasket. I'm only going to go around the center hole. We don't need to worry about the bolt holes. Got a bit too much on, but if I scrape it off and set it aside, and I act quickly enough, because remember this is fast setting and it is hard setting, so this will harden. Then I can use what I scrape off to seal. To finish sealing this gasket up. Okay, so now we're going to install this gasket with the sealer side in. Now we're going to hurry up and apply what we took off the gasket to the flange, the gasket surface on the flange of the carburetor, leaving a little extra at the top where it's not going to seal on its own. The rest of it does not need very much. And I'm going to wipe my finger off so I do not wind up getting a bunch of this brown mess all over the place. I'm going to connect the throttle linkage. And we're going to put this carburetor on. Now I need the nuts that hold it on, which I have placed in this box over here for safekeeping. Here they are. Oop. Got some of that sealer on my shirt. Come on now. It's not being very cooperative, not wanting to thread on very well. I don't know, I guess we'll try this other one. I guess we'll just use a wrench and send her home. It's not cross-threaded. It started. to go easily, and I went on far enough for me to know it's not cross-threaded. And we will hurry and get this one on. I'm trying to hurry to get it kind of snugged up. So I'm sorry, I was in a hurry and forgot to change your view. There you go. Now you can see a little better. But as I was saying, I was trying to hurry so I can get this sealed up quickly before that stuff really starts setting. I'm not going to go crazy trying to get this thing stupid tight. I just want it tight enough that it's a good seal. And I got some of that goop, that brown goop on my shirt, but that's okay. This is a work shirt. It's all stained up anyway. And, yeah. Let's go ahead and oh, I was wrong. This flange here is not supposed to be perfectly straight up and down. I did not realize that. I thought that it was. There we go. That should fit well. It was at a slight angle. I misspoke. So we will now connect the fuel line. There we are. The carburetor is installed. That's a pretty easy carb install. And I'm going to do a little tidying up here, putting some things away, and I will bring you guys back in a bit. Alright, the carburetor is back on. The fuel line's hooked up, the governor linkage is hooked up, everything's hooked up, ready to go. I turned on I opened the fuel valve, and I watched fuel flow until it stopped flowing. And I watched the carburetor. It is seeping ever so slowly. So yes, it does need a carb kit. Am I going to buy one for it? No. I'm going to sell this with the carb kit that is in there. Because me buying a carb kit for it, I'm not going to see that money back out of it. It costs too much. It is seeping only very slowly. It's not dripping at all. It's going to evaporate long before it drips. So, without further ado, let's start this engine. It is choked. And let's go. Come on now. Perfect. I didn't even need to adjust the carburetor. It's not smoking, except for I did spray some more penetrating fluid on the 45-degree elbow. That is, or actually, it's 135-degree elbow. That's on the that threaded into the exhaust port, because I would like to get that out. Yeah, I am gonna put a different muffler on here. I'm going to put a whole different exhaust on here before I put this up for sale, and that's why I would like to get that out of there. Yeah, it seems to run perfectly. I was able to rev it up, and it didn't cough and sputter. It ran nice at an idle. It ran nice at with some RPMs. Let's fire it up again, and let's see how slow we can get this to run. I want to play with it a little bit. Jeez. It fired and tried to go backwards. Oh man, you guys are shaking. Wow. Wow. That was running pretty slow. Now, of course, it did end up dying after a little bit. I'm going to increase that just a little bit and fire it up again. That's pretty cool. As you can see, I'm not using the choke I'm not choking it to kill it now. I did get the actual kill switch to function, so that's nice. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video here. Pretty sure this has actually gone on way too long, and I'm probably going to, somewhere in the middle, I'm probably actually going to cut this video in half, because I kind of got carried away and forgot to keep an eye on the time, so, or the length of the video. So, anyways, yeah, that'll conclude this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Drop a comment, let me know your thoughts. Do you like Wisconsin engines? Do you want to see more Wisconsin engine videos? I have some Wisconsins that I have not touched on the shelf of antique engines, which is pretty much most of the south wall of my garage. There's a lot of them. One of these days I'm going to have to do like a video tour of well, the antique engines and other projects that I have. All my Bolin stuff, all my home life stuff, my Toro stuff, and whatever else that I have lying around. But anyways, drop a comment and let me know if that's a video you guys would like to see or not. But anyways, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button if you like the kind of content that you see here, and I will see you in the next one. Later.